So the R101 airship disaster is going to be very broad strokes about this disaster. This is a very complicated disaster that happened. But in a nutshell, the R101 was a airship that was constructed in 1929 as part of a British government program. They wanted to try to develop airships as a way to make carrying mail quicker a possibility, but also just for people to be able to travel to places that were inaccessible or extremely difficult to get to by other means. So they wanted to build this airship program, and the R101 was kind of their big crown jewel of achievement. This was going to be the thing that would open up this new chapter in history. There was a lot of problems with this airship, though. From all outward appearances, this was a marvel. This was something that was going to change everything for a lot of people in a lot of different industries. But there were issues. There were tests that were conducted where there were things that probably should have been looked at, or results that were not optimal to have this airship carrying people over these long distances. The kind of testing and the results is extensive. They can be found online. But despite all of this, despite all of these kind of warning signs and red flags of, maybe this isn't ready yet, maybe we should take a step back here, it was certified on October 2nd, 1930. Its first flight was October 4th, 1930. And because this was the inaugural flight, this was a big deal. So everybody of importance was on this flight. When it took off, outlook was high. Everything was positive. Everything was great. Like I said, this was going to change everything. But before long, they ran into a lot of weather conditions. Like huge torrential downpour, heavy wind gusts. These are all things that in testing should have been a clear sign that this ship is not ready. But here it was. It was in the air. People were already in it. It was too late. So the ship kept moving on, rain, wind, and it started to dip. It started to dive, losing altitude. It would try to come back up, lose more altitude. And only a couple hours into its inaugural flight, it crashed into the ground just outside of the town of, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Vevey in France. 2 a.m., it burst into flame. And there were 48 people that died as a result of this airship crash. And after this crash, all of these extremely high hopes that were held for this new industry, this new chapter, it was dashed to the ground.